How do I handle this family fight about favoritism without pissing off my wife more or making my kids upset? My wife, 42F, and I, 46F, have 5 kids and have been together for over 20 years now. We've always had a very good relationship, albeit we have very different personalities. I would argue that's what makes us work. I'm very artistic, while my wife is very academic. We're both going on 15 years in our careers, her being a professor and me being an at-home painter. Being a painter and her being a professor, we've both spent a lot of time at home, allowing us to raise our kids happily. She's been home less, however, and I've been more like a stay-at-home dad, which I've never minded. My wife homeschools the 2 youngest and the 14-year-old since they don't take much interest in academics, and she wants them to have the opportunity to explore their interests. Our kids have tended to take more of one of our personalities than the other. The 2 youngest are way more like me, easygoing, artistic, outdoorsy. The oldest is way more like her, academically brilliant, and particularly star of the debate team. I don't have an issue with my kid being talented in things, obviously, but my wife has been deeply interested in their work. My wife was on debate in high school, so she has a passion to go be judges at their tournaments and help them with all of their crazy schoolwork with projects. Again, no issue. Now, there's 4 disconnected stories which have culminated in our fight. At the beginning of November, when our 14-year-old had a soccer game, no idea where he got being amazing at sports from, and asked us to both come. I could come, but my wife had already signed up to be a judge at a tournament the same weekend. She explained to our son that if he had asked earlier, she would have taken the weekend off from judging, but she had already signed up. She wasn't rude or mean, but our 14-year-old was still hurt. He said that his mom clearly picked our oldest over her. To give my wife credit, she tried to have someone else cover her judging that weekend, but no one would, and she did go to a game earlier in the season. It was something that came up a lot in snarky adolescent jokes from our son, making it apparent that he was still very hurt over it. All of our younger daughters also started making jokes over it, clearly having gotten my wife's quick wit. I could tell my wife was hurt, but she never mentioned it, and she's relatively resilient, so I figured it was pretty much water off her back. Around December, our 13-year-old started shaping up to be a lot more like her mother. With high school coming up soon, she took an interest in creative writing, which even exploded into her winning an award at her school. My wife was all over this and even shared our daughter's poetry in a class she was teaching. A couple days ago now, our 17-year-old came out as non-binary. My wife and I are actually both LGBT, so it wasn't a surprise, and we've been doing well with the name changing and closet rearranging. My wife, if anything, was actually excited. She took over explaining the situation to the school and has been educating our younger kids on the situation. Our 17-year-old won an important tournament the same weekend our 13-year-old officially signed up for high school classes. We took everyone out to dinner to celebrate, and my wife made it a point to say exactly what we were celebrating. My 14-year-old got really upset and said that we hadn't gone out to dinner when he won a soccer game. My wife apologized and said that we had gone out to dinner when he signed up for high school classes, and said that I usually took him out for pizza when he won a game, which is true. He got really mad and said that it's not the same, and that he wanted his mom to support him, not just me. I completely understood where he was coming from and explained to my wife that she had been taking more interest in the other 2 kids. The 14-year-old started ridiculing my wife for buying the 17-year-old new clothes, and not the rest of them. I fell silent here, which I shouldn't have done, because suddenly the 2 youngest popped in and took the side of the 14-year-old, while our other 2 took the side of mom. Quickly, it devolved into a family fight, which also turned into a husband and wife fight. I want to be clear and say that we obviously have fights with our teenagers every so often, but this was maybe only our second ever family blowout. None of us are conflict-driven, so it's always a surprise when we fight at all. We paid our check and left quickly. The ride home was completely silent, and the moment we got in the door, everyone split by sides. My wife and I headed to our bedroom to figure out how to handle everything, having relatively cooled down. Things quickly sparked up again when I said, "It's clear that you play favorites with the kids." She snapped back, saying that she was the only one who took an interest in the academic kids. She said that I never help with homework and have never offered to judge for a debate tournament. I explained that it wasn't my forte, to which she yelled back something about how soccer and art isn't hers either, but she still tried by homeschooling them. I told her that it's not the same as treating them the same, and she still played favorites. She said something to me about being burnt out by teaching kids and college students, but that judging debate cooled her down since she had a passion for it. I question this and still do. Since it's been 25 years since high school, how can she still have a passion for it? She also yelled at me about not defending her from the 14-year-old's jokes about her playing favorites that led up to this whole situation. I don't know how I could have helped there since I didn't even know it bothered her. I tried telling her this, but she kept just saying that she needed me to help her figure out a way to fix things. But I can't let it go. How can she fix things with the kids if she doesn't even know how she's treating them different? She's been really upset since, and I've gone to my best friends / the neighbors to cool down. He basically told me that my wife was right, and that she hasn't been playing favorites, just picking up where I leave off. I realized he's right, but I still don't think I could have defended hers regardless though. I still need to fix this between the kids, and between me and her. We can handle the kids together, but I don't think what I said is something she'll let go of quickly, especially since this did all get escalated because of what I said at dinner. Any advice is welcome. Edit/update. Thank you guys for all of the comments and advice. One long family meeting later, and it seems like things are better, or at least will get better. First things first, my wife and I are not totally absolutely okay, and we won't be for a minute. But that's okay. We can handle that together. I'm going to take more leadership in the homeschooling perspective, which will give her more time to invest in the other kids' activities. Albeit, we still have to work on a larger communication issue that seems to have came to a head during this fight. But my wife and I can handle ourselves. We've been fixing ourselves and growing since we got together so long ago. The kids are our biggest issue primarily, and mostly their relationships with each other. We don't want to foster an environment where they can't rely on each other. Our 17-year-old and 14-year-old had already began working stuff out between themselves when I came back from the neighbors. They've always been competitive as the two oldest, which isn't surprising, but they seem to have worked out where a lot of the feelings were originating. We still had a family meeting, but the kids are relatively good together now. Still those feelings of guilt linger, but they're playing Mario Kart while my wife and I come up with the plans. Thank you guys for helping us work with our big feelings. I appreciate it.